Hey there, welcome to another episode of Tales from the Podcast. I'm your host, JB. And got a pretty fun episode planned for tonight, guys. I hope you all enjoy it. Before we get started, though, I definitely want to go ahead and throw out there to check out some of the stuff we have going on with our sponsors. First off, one of my good friends there, Sydney. If you're into wax melts, and I know you are, check out some of the spooky things that she has going on over on her Etsy store. Link is in all the podcast things. I mean, easy as shit to find. And use our code TFTP20. Save 20% on your order. Good sense. I mean, you're going to get shit to make your house smell good. Why not support somebody cool and local? Now, other than that, obviously, as most of you know, and our guest tonight actually is a very early supporter of this. But check it out. We got our comic book, and that can be found over at talesfromthepodcast.com as well. And I mean, go there. You can check it out. There's a few different versions that you can buy, some extras that we thrown in there. Pretty fucking cool shit. So go enjoy that. And if you're in the Dayton area or you do live close to Ohio and you would want to get one of these and maybe get it signed or even get your hands on maybe one of the rare, kind of variant covers that we have going on, tomorrow, Josh Nealis, our editor and publisher, as well as myself, will be out in Dayton at the Wright State Student Union doing a signing at the Jim and Dan's Comic and Toy Show. So come and check that out. Actually, it's tomorrow. So, I mean, we'll be there from 10 to 4. Be a lot of fun shit, a lot of cool things going on, lots of cool toys, lots of cool comic books. If that's your thing, come fucking down, check us out. We'll sign your shit, and you could have fun, chat it up with us. It'd be cool times. Anyways, before we go ahead and get a little started with this, I want to go ahead and say hi to everybody in the chat room. Hey, Chuck, how's it going, buddy? Stop in and say hey. I actually believe he had something go on with our guest just the other day as well. And Sean Smithson, how's it going, buddy? I hope you're doing well, man. So let's go ahead and introduce the guest for tonight. A friend of the show, supporter of the show, supporter of the comic book, and podcaster himself. The host of Same Cast, Different Day podcast, my buddy Martel.
Woo! I'm sober.
I'm sober.
I'm known for being drunk on my podcast. I'm letting everybody know I'm sober.
Well, I mean, that's fair. I mean, what a way to start it off right there, right? I mean, hey, I'm sober, guys.
And I do have all 4 of those alternate covers, by the way, and make sure y'all support the comic.
Oh, thank you, man. I mean, yeah, you were a very early supporter, and you got all of them. I mean, that's fucking awesome. And Chuck says, had a killer time on Martel's show. So am I.
Chuck, I didn't forget. I'm still going to ask JB about that thing I was going to talk about. I'm going to wait till later in the show, though.
No, let's do it now. You brought it up. I don't even know what it is. I have no idea what it is.
So, no, I was going to ask him about the meme with the sock.
Oh, so Chuck's not here to defend himself, so I can make this really fucking funny and elaborate. I hope you're listening, Chuck, and you know I love you, buddy. If you need the show leak so you can join it or whatever, let me know. I'll let you defend yourself. I'm not that kind of asshole. But back in the How about no, unless I am on? Seriously?
I warned them that this was going to happen.
Oh my god. So all right. Well, I mean, Chuck, dude, go to your Facebook page, motherfucker, because you are about to have the fucking link. And if you want to defend yourself, I mean, I will give you a full blown chance to defend yourself. But I mean, like that's really all I can do. I can give you a chance to do it. If you do it or not, I am serious. He's gonna get so pissed off. He got the leak. I know he looked at it. As soon as he jumps on, I will fucking tell everybody what's going on with Chuck's dirty socks.
Because I can't remember what podcast she was on, but I was watching it and I'm like, it was hilarious watching that.
Yeah, I did not stop. I will be honest. that very well could be my fault. I mean, I have definitely been known for taking things to a pretty extreme level where they should never have been to begin with. But I mean, you know, what can you expect? You know, it was a really good story, and I would be honored to be able to tell it. I'm hoping he comes in. I will respect his wishes, but
because I came in on the tail end of the story, so when you guys were on another podcast, I was like, I got to.
I got the story on a different podcast too, so don't feel bad. But I took that whole story to an extreme level, like I said. It's a fucked up story. You know, he had relations with that sock. Whoa, and there his sound is shit. There he is.
Hey, Chuck, hey buddy.
Hi guys.
Welcome, the co-host of QG1C with me, Chuck Nasty, my partner, who
keeps dropping his fucking phone.
So am I, Mr. Sober.
Okay. No, I am. No. I was saying so am I. Was like, I'm usually known to be drunk on the show.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I am very sober right now, actually.
Thank you. Bro. All right. Well, Chuck's here to defend himself, so I can go ahead and say it. So Chuck, all the way up to last month, would consistently jerk off in socks and let them stiffen up and leave them all over the place.
Nope, you're wrong on that. I haven't done that for many, many years. Thank you very much.
Okay, fine. I might have changed it a little bit.
Quite a bit, actually, you motherfucker. I'm gonna go ahead and just say this. I'm gonna say this right now.
Okay, all right.
I'm gonna put this out there, and it's gonna be done because I'm done with this fucking thing. So done. It has made its way to every podcast I'm on. Not even fucking kidding. On Video Store Clerks, they've started writing a script. Okay.
I love you, Shanty.
Oh. So, the whole story behind the fucking socks came from a fucking incident that happened a long time ago, where I was living with my fucking friend, and his girlfriend was like staying there with him at the time as well. At the time, the Wi-Fi only worked in my room. Okay, I was probably 23, 24, and my room was always a mess. Okay. It was the only place in the apartment that you got the best internet, so everybody would go to my fucking room on occasions. And my friend Jason, his girlfriend Corinne at the time, Corey, she had to go use the Wi-Fi.
Jason, I know.
Yeah, the one that won the Grindhouse game. Yeah.
Yes.
So she goes in there, and I'm sitting in the living room, and all of a sudden I hear her gasp real loud. Everybody did. There's got a couple other people there too. And the only thing I could think about, I was like, what's wrong? And she's like, nothing. And I was like, you stepped on something, didn't you? She's like, yeah. and that's pretty much it, because that was my fucking my easy cleanup. She stepped on my cum sock.
So you had relations with that sock, and you You really stiffened her up.
Yeah. You know, I mean, as a teenager, man, after I moved out of my mom's house, my fucking closet was bad. It was bad. And yeah, it was like fucking hockey sticks. It was bad.
Wait a minute. Wait, you said this happened when you were 23, right?
Yeah, that particular story where this whole fucking thing started for me telling that story fucking a year ago on here. Just about a fucking year ago.
I'm just trying to figure.
Yeah.
They had Wi-Fi back when you were 23. I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean it was, but you could steal the fucking Wi-Fi. They didn't have a thing on it.
So just so everyone knows, and I'm only saying this again because
But just still the internet, man. Not Wi-Fi. It wasn't Wi-Fi.
Jumped way the fuck up right now. We are talking about when Chuck got caught by his friend's girlfriend with his cum sock that she stepped on.
I did not get caught with it.
Okay. She stepped on your cum sock.
She stepped on my cum sock. Nobody caught me using the sock, okay, buddy?
But she stubbed her toe.
Get your facts right or pay the price.
That's worse than getting caught using it, though.
No, it's not.
No, it has to look really, really bad getting caught with a sock on your dick.
I'll be more embarrassed that somebody stepped on a crunchy cum sock.
You know what, though? You know what? Hey, blame American Pie, okay? That's where I got the fucking idea from, okay? So,
apple pie sock, what's the difference?
The socks that had holes in them that didn't, whatever. I was like, fuck.
Warm if I take it right out of the dryer. Right?
Well, I didn't do that, none of that, but yeah. I never fucked a pie either, but.
Shanty says entire civilizations were wiped off of his chest with those socks.
Yeah, it sounds like you got that from Bill Hicks. He said the same thing about some other things. So, can we put this to rest? Please? Please?
I mean,
I'm going to figure out how to clip this and play this story on my podcast.
This is going to make a really, really good TikTok video. I mean, I already got it time stamped like a motherfucker. I wrote it down. It's like, this is a good clip right here. I love you, Chuck.
Oh, that face.
I know. You can only look so mad when we know about your crunchy socks.
It's gotten old for me. I'm kind of tired of being I'm kind of tired of being seen as a joke. So,
well, I mean, I don't think
done it. There it is.
Joke.
I mean, this was a year ago.
It's just a really, really.
This is a long-running bunch of bullshit. Okay.
Well,
but I've had to, okay, Grant, it was my fault because I fucking put it out there because I was drunk and thought it was funny. I didn't realize it was going to follow me with every fucking episode, every other episode, fucking months down.
Well, all right, now I'm kind of curious. How did it get spread around? Because it wasn't me originally.
What do you mean?
How did the story get out?
Oh, my roommates.
But how did it spread to the shows?
How did it spread to the show? Well, from this show, I mentioned it on here. Okay. And then on Video Store Clerks, it was mentioned on there.
I heard it originally on Video Store Clerks.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No, because we've been doing this show a lot longer than I've been doing Video Store Clerks.
Yeah, I know, but your crunchy socks never came up on our show.
Yes, it did multiple times beforehand. That's how they knew about it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How the hell am I not remembering your crunchy socks?
I don't know. You smoke a lot of weed before you got into a government job, so maybe that could be what it is.
But
I smoke a lot of weed. I don't work for a government job, and I can remember fucking everything.
Yeah, I did. I did do that. Oh man. Well, I mean, that's true. So it started on this show, looped to every other show, and back to the show.
Yep.
Wow, that's
just about.
How long does this process take?
I don't. What process?
Let's say instead of the circle of life, the circle of crunchy sock. How long did it take start to finish to go all the way from this show through every other podcast back to this moment now?
I don't know. A year?
A year.
I guess, whatever.
Crunchy stocks need to be a meme in a billboard. They need to be chucked on a billboard next to a crunchy sock.
Martel, it doesn't.
Who was the wrestler with the sock?
Mankind.
Yeah, Mankind. Yeah.
So we need to have like a crunchy sock meme with Chuck as a
Socko, just call it Cruncho. Shut up.
You said it.
I know. I just said myself to shut up.
It's like you want to join in on this and make this idea real. You just don't want it to be about you.
God, yeah, there's a certain element of that. That's true.
It's like deep down, you know this is the greatest thing ever, but you just don't want it about you.
I don't know why I would think it's the greatest thing ever, because I don't.
This get turned into a great comedy movie, and boom, you're making millions.
Like I said, the guys in Video Store Clerks started a horror comedy about how my fucking socks turn into something. They end up coming alive, and it's killer sperm, basically. Yeah, I've pretty much told them I'd like them just to not worry about that script anymore. So we'll see.
Well, that's on them. That's on them. We'll see how that goes. I mean, most of that show doesn't even message people back, so he's probably not going to get very far on his script. So I wouldn't stress it.
He gets back to everybody. Why didn't he get back to you? I don't know. He's got a lot of shit going on.
Probably thinking about them crunchy socks too much.
I'm sure that's exactly what it is, JP. I'm sure that's exactly what that is.
Taco Bell is gonna make you rich. Like, come on, like Taco Bell is gonna turn into a thing. Watch.
I don't think that would go anywhere near
the Crunch Sock Supreme.
There you go. See, you can turn anything into a food commercial these days.
Oh my god, that would be gross. Oh, fucking A. But yeah. You said unless you were here, so I like
I know that's why I came on, because I was saying hi, and then Martel wanted to open his mouth like I figured he was going to about it.
I had no idea this was even going to happen.
I warned you I want to do it.
He brought it up. He brought it up on his show when I was on it the other day. And I was like, God damn it, this really is fucking following me a lot longer than I want to. I'm 38 fucking years old. I haven't jerked off in a fucking sock in
at least 2 weeks.
At least 20 fucking, I don't know, fucking 15, 20 years. Like,
oh, geez.
I've gotten laid a lot since those days, okay? Damn it.
Worth it.
I don't use socks no more. I use throats. Thanks.
It's okay, Chuck. It's okay.
Yeah, I know it is.
I hope you're okay, man. I hope you're okay. You don't seem very happy about everything.
The beginning of me coming on here, I did say I was sober.
Well, I mean,
so I'm doing great already, and this is helping.
Well, to be fair, I mean, don't take it out on me. It's not my fault.
Why would I do that, buddy?
Because
you were always just classy.
I am classy. Some people say I'm too classy.
Nah, classic, not classy.
It's okay. Classic. Oh, God. Man, damn it, dude. So
I mean, I'm glad I could make a special appearance on this episode for whatever fucking reason.
Right.
I mean, it's all about me, and everybody knows how much I love me.
Well, I mean, you're the one that wanted to be on about this. I wasn't going to let
you tell the story because if I wasn't on here, I would have been throwing my fucking phone around the room, screaming at the fucking thing.
Like
You're telling it wrong. You were fucking telling it wrong. So I needed to be on here so I didn't have an aneurysm.
Right, kind of like the way I started your story. I was gonna make it very elaborate, to be fair, and I was gonna.
I'm sure.
At least fancy Argyle socks. So it's like, you weren't just going to town with Hanes.
Nope, white ones. Yep, Hanes all the way, bud.
You at least had some class about it.
No class at all. I'm Chuck Nasty. What the fuck are you talking about?
It's the difference between buying like a $12 pack of socks and a $13 pair of socks. In comparison, that's like a $10 hooker versus a $200 hooker.
I don't waste my socks when they're brand new. Thank you very much. It's never been a thing.
You wait till there's holes in them.
Yeah, that's how I used to do it.
I'm just hoping the first time you used that sock, it was clean.
Oh yeah, of course I'm not gonna use a dirty sock. I only did that one time and I felt disgusting. It's so sweaty in here.
It's like he finally got a girlfriend after that. Why does your dick smell like dirty feet? That's why.
I mean, I do wash myself, thanks. I do know what a shower and shampoo and soap is.
Well, you said something about using a dirty sock. That made the joke. You don't have to ruin the good joke.
I didn't think I ruined any good joke. I just ruined some socks.
Well, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Definitely can't argue that. You probably ruined plenty of socks.
Many embarrassing moments.
Right.
Lost some socks, lost some friends. You know, it happens.
Hopefully you didn't lose the friends over the socks.
Oh no, I mean like the friends never made it. If you get what I'm saying. Anyway. They didn't make it. They didn't make it.
Never a dull moment with Chuck Nasty.
I try to make sure it's as entertaining as possible for everybody, especially JB.
On the bright, at least thank you for not coming in your friend's socks.
Yeah, I'm not a dickhead.
I mean,
I'm not an asshole. I wouldn't do that.
I mean, it depends on who you ask that question to. I'm not a dick. I'm not an asshole.
I did have to think about it. But
ask that question to 20 people and see how many people agree with you.
God, the bad thing is that like the remaining friends that I have that have known me for so long, they would probably have a lot to say about this.
Well, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like I love you to death. You know damn well, you're like a fucking brother to me.
Yeah, of course.
You know damn well that both of us can be an asshole too.
Oh yeah, of course. There's a difference between an asshole and being a fucking asshole.
Well, yeah, you're not wrong there.
No,
you're not wrong there.
The whole lot better to fuck assholes. Just don't be a fucking asshole.
Dude, I 100% agree. You know who was being an asshole earlier was Ron.
What?
Oh God, started talking about gay porn videos.
Oh, on the Malvolio thing?
Yeah.
I saw a clip of it. I was doing a bunch of other things.
Yeah. But feel free, anybody who's watching this who's friends with Ron, go message him and ask him where he can find his incest video that he posted. Because he is going nuts doing all sorts of new videos. So message him, be like, hey, Ron, where's that new incest video you got? And check that out.
I really don't want you to ever have I don't ever want to have a fallout at all.
Wait, what? Wait, what is going on?
It started off with the joke, and he got the last word on something, and I had to go back and watch it, so I didn't get a chance to defend myself. So I'm defending myself now to his comment hours ago. So, and I know he's not watching, so I'm hoping that he gets 30, 40 messages about it, because that alone is just going to make me laugh thinking about it. And that's what makes it worth it to me. So, anyways, man.
Guys, it's been fun. I'm glad I could come on here and bring some light to the situation, and to bring some truth and fact along with it. You all can now continue the regular scheduled program.
All right,
Chuck Nasty out.
Careful with your socks. I'll talk to you later.
You asshole. Later, guys.
So there you guys have it, man. If you wanted to know about Chuck's nasty cum socks, to the viewers that are just tuning in now.
Teenagers, hide your cum socks. Let that be a warning.
Fuck. Oh, man. So, yeah. Lots of cum socks going on in this episode. Anyways, there is some other cool shit going on. We are going to be talking also about a really, really cool show, a personal favorite show of mine. Maybe you can guess what it's called. Maybe Tales from the Crypt. But Martel, man, I'm having you on for this. I believe last time we already talked about your introduction to Tales from the Crypt. But
yes.
I'm happy that you are at least enjoying it, because I know earlier we were chatting that you're probably going to end up watching some more episodes pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm definitely happy that this right here has at least opened your eyes a little bit, and well, I guess that's sounds like an asshole way of saying it, but like kind of reintroduced you to a very, very fun show that can be very extremely fucking entertaining. But I really hope you enjoy your journey that you're about to be taking on it.
You know what might sound, people who's watching it, I promise you I'm not a bimbo. Um, it took me a while to realize while watching this show that every episode is different people. Like it's not the same actors and actresses on every show. So please do not think I'm a bimbo. it took me a while to realize it, but I'm not a bimbo. I swear I'm not.
Right? No. You're fine. You're fine. Actually, David, friend of the show, this episode kind of feels like a horror female version of that '90s comedy Groundhog Day. That's kind of what me and Martel, like what I said earlier to you. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into this a little bit. So this episode, oh man, I'll give the IMDb description first before really getting into it. But it says struggling comic book artist Rowland gets fired from her job by her mean and demanding boss, Vern. However, Rowland finds herself experiencing the events of this one fateful day over and over again with some changes, but the same dismal results. Now, to kind of get into this a bit more, this right here was an episode directed by Mick Garris. Definitely probably better known for a lot of his writing. I mean, She-Wolf of London, Hocus Pocus, did a lot of the Masters of Horror. I believe he was one of the creators of Masters of Horror. Sleepwalker, Nightmare Cinema, Critters 2. And don't get me wrong, he did quite a bit of stuff, as a director as well. A lot of TV stuff, but I mean, still pretty cool. Unfortunately, he did Psycho 4, the beginning. So I do have to mention that just because that was just a horrible piece of shit movie. But I at least go ahead and throw it in there. David, I love the episode's comic book cover with the woman trapped in the vortex. Yeah, that was yep, it's definitely part of the episode there. It's actually part of the it's shown over and over and over again in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, going back to this, the screenplay for this was done by Gilbert Adler as well as A.L. Katz. Obviously, both of them very much so well known for being producers of Tales from the Crypt. Gilbert did a lot of stuff like Constantine, all the Superman stuff, House on Haunted Hill. I mean, we're talking about two extremely prolific producers, directors, writers for their time. I mean, cinema wouldn't be the same without people like that. That's for sure. Especially, A.L. Katz as well as Adler. I mean, fucking fantastic people. In this episode, we got Rowland, played by Rita Rudner. Definitely done a lot of TV work. Most of the stuff that she's did has definitely been more of like her playing herself on TV shows as guests, comedy shit. I mean, like.
Oh, when I went to her history, I was like, I only recognized 2 of those shows.
Oh yeah,
I went to her little history thing.
It's like I don't really know what made her famous.
Me either.
But I mean, she's done so much shit as herself, playing herself on stuff, and I mean, some of it I feel bad for her, like being on an episode of the Dennis Miller Show. I mean, that had to have been a piece of shit fucking night. Like, it could not have been fun. But anyway, she's in this right here. We also got a comedian that I like way more than any man should. As the character Vern in this episode, we got Richard Lewis, who I just find very, very funny, especially in like Men in Tights. I mean, but he's been on so much shit. Probably
punch his character.
What was that?
I wanted to punch his character on this episode.
Well, yeah, no, I definitely get that. Let's see. He's probably best known nowadays for Curb Your Enthusiasm. Would you agree with that? I mean,
That's
he's
a
been in a
great show.
ton of shit, but I mean, that's like his big thing as of right now. That wasn't like where he got his start or anything like that, but that was definitely a pretty big deal for him there. Um, but he's done tons of other shit, a lot of TV shows, a few movies here and there too, but for the most part, a lot of TV shows like Daddy Dearest, Anything But Love, Hiller and Diller, Rude Awakening, Seventh Heaven. I mean, dude's been on a ton of shit. Pretty famous actor, I'd say. We also got Blake Clark in this as Jerry. Um, he definitely did quite a bit of shit too. Things from like 50 First Dates, The Waterboy, Toys. So I mean, that dude's been all over the fucking place as well. So we got him in here, and we also got Michael Gregory in this episode as well. Dude has a ton of fucking um like what 164 credits on his fucking IMDb page alone. And
That's impressive.
oh yeah, you know who he played in this episode?
Wasn't he the was the one guy that they kept saying the same line?
No, he was the cop.
He was the cop.
He was the cop. Yeah, where he gets like a 1 second scene like three
You're
different
right.
times or whatever. Yeah. But he's done a lot of video game shit as of nowadays. But he did a lot of the stuff for like EverQuest. But he was funny enough, like kind of like a Tales from the Crypt kind of like circle here. He was in the Three Stooges TV movie thing too. And I believe John Kassir was in the Three Stooges movie as well, which is pretty cool. John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper, for those who don't know. So, little cool things there. But, I mean, dude's been in just a ton of shit. Like a lot of just like one-offs on TV shows. A few episodes of Freddy's Nightmares, Growing Pains, Total Recall. He played in that. He was in an episode of MacGyver, Duet, Hunter. He played Lieutenant Hedgecock in RoboCop, which is probably one of my favorite things he's done. I'm a pretty big RoboCop fan, but other than that, that kind of like basically takes care of the cast for the most part. Well, I mean, we also get A.L. Katz as Iggy in this episode, which is pretty cool seeing him, not only helping out with the screenplay, but actually going ahead and giving himself a little cameo in here as well. And we got Corin Nemec in this too as Hal. Another person who's been in a ton of stuff, but a lot of little things to say the least.
I just want to add that the RoboCop remake was terrible. It felt like it needed to be said.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. Well, what was it? I think is it 3? I think 3 might be one of my favorite ones, or 4. But there's just that scene where you get RoboCop just with the fucking jetpack, and it just looks so fucking stupid. But I fucking love that shit. It reminds you of a better time of watching these kinds of movies and shows back in the day, to say the least.
Yep. All the remakes is horrible.
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess so. Oh man, let's see here. I used to watch RoboCop 90s TV series. That was really bad. that was like really, really fucking bad. Anyways, getting into this episode. So in this episode, it's a really, really, I'm trying to think of like the nicest way to put it. It's not a very eventful episode, even though it feels like there is. But it's a very kind of like a meta type thing where we got the whole Rolanda being an artist.
It wasn't
not only an artist, but
it wasn't eventful, but it was interesting still.
Yeah. I will say it's definitely weird that not only was she writing but drawing as well. So she was
Mm-hmm.
writing and drawing stories for Tales from the Crypt at the EC headquarters, I guess you would call it there. And Richard Lewis played the boss. Come in, has her story, goes through it, she's telling it. Richard Lewis hates it, asks for a few stories from the people, doesn't really care about them, hates the one guy's story, tells the other guy to have it ready in a half hour, then calls
Mm-hmm.
Rolanda in, fires her. She comes back with the gun, kills him, leaves, gets killed. Groundhog Day effect. Wakes up, notices it's kind of the same day. She's kind of confused. So she goes about it a little bit different. Leaves her gun at home, goes, does everything the way she would have normally. Stopped him from, trying to call security. Still gets called out. Comes back at the end of the night. He goes to kill her. Gun gets turned around, kills him.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes back down to leave. And I don't know if you noticed it, even pushed a different button on the elevator. The cops are
Notice it.
there, killed her. Then she tries to call off work, but her boss just happens to come to her house. He can't take this anymore, type thing. Goes to shoots himself, and purposely suicide. She goes, grabs the gun, and you almost get the impression she's going to do it the same thing too. But
Mm-hmm.
no, instead, she gets arrested this time. And interesting enough, I will say something I very much so liked. Kind of went for the firing squad execution style, which I'm not sure, but I know that it might still be legal in some places to even go about that. I
I
know
think
that
they
it
had a
was.
case in North Carolina where a guy chose. He was on death row and chose to be killed by a firing squad.
Let's see here.
This was this year, actually, that this was
All
introduced.
right. Well, I'm actually looking at it right now. While this procedure has since faded in modern times, it is still considered to be a legal procedure for dealing with criminal soldiers and political figures in many countries. I should probably put where we live, the United States. South Carolina
America.
is one of 4 states. Mississippi,
Oh, it's
Oklahoma,
South
and
Carolina.
Utah are the others where it is legal. So in 4 states. So if you live in South Carolina, Mississippi, Oklahoma, or Utah, and you're on death row, I strongly suggest going for the firing squad. And I probably shouldn't say anything else. I should probably
That
stop
that
there.
just seemed like a slow, painful death if you don't die instantly.
Well, I mean, I would assume you would. I mean, I'm sure they have like legit marksmen aiming at your head, but correct me if
Okay,
I'm
sure.
wrong, but I believe it's supposed to be like there's supposed to be multiple people there, like 5 or more, and every like their weapons aren't supposed to they're not supposed to load them themselves. But basically one person has the bullet, the rest has blanks. And so it's supposed to kind of clear your conscience of I'm not the one that shot them. So it's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like that's their way of like easing it for the shooter. But I know strangely more than I probably should know about that. Um, I I didn't know where it was legal, but I know the procedure behind it. But that kind of does it for the actual comic or the actual episode itself. You know, pretty basic, but Whirlpool itself was actually not only the name of the episode, but the name of her comic book in this too, which is a nice little story there too. Um,
To be honest, the story that she was telling in the comic strip, if I was to see that in like a real movie, that was a good plot turn or twist. Well, twist is what they called it on the show. That would have been a good twist. I don't care.
well, yeah, it definitely wouldn't have been bad, but I mean, keep in mind this: we only also got to see the last page of her comic book, so we
True.
don't know. Like, I mean, each Tales from the Crypt episode itself is based off of a comic book issue, which
Yeah, I'm like, if that was based on like a real horror movie and that was like the plot twist, I would have went for it.
right.
That was
Well,
good.
let's go ahead and kind of go the comic book route right now. So, not only was this an episode, which I forgot to throw out there, this episode aired October 31st of 1994. The cool thing about that is that
I was two.
2. I was 6. Now, not only that though, but this as well as Only Skin Deep and Let the Punishment Fit the Crime, which are the first 3 episodes of season 6, all were released on that day.
Hmm.
But this story is based off of a story called Whirlpool from Vault of Horror, issue number 32. And man, I every once in a while it's like, okay, these stories are similar. All right, cool. And then other times it's like, all right, well, I can see where they took the basic idea and went with it. Well, let's just go ahead and say flat out that this one, it was hard to find an actual comparison. Like, I'm better off just letting you know that it's almost an entirely different story. Um, so this is the little bit of a cover for it for the Vault of Horror, the Whirlpool one. So this story, we get a woman who's, it seems like she's going through a lot and seeing things. There's these like troll type things looking at her, like, who are you? Blah, blah, blah. And then she'll like kind of like zone out for a minute and there'd be like somebody jabbing her, looks evil with like a pen. And then somebody freaking out and, it's like her walls and like she's feeling like she's getting smashed in. And then she'll come to her senses and there were people around her and they're trying to explain to her that she's in an insane asylum and trying to let her know that these people are, she wasn't, thinking somebody was stabbing her. Somebody was trying to give her a shot. The walls weren't closing in on you. They had to put a straight jacket on you. Basic kind of, procedures like this. And, she was on trial for something, which you don't really get to tell what she was on trial for. But as soon as she's being convinced of this, there's a whole turnaround. And the people that are telling her this, she starts to go crazy again. And in fact, if you look at this picture, it's those 3 people right there that you can see on the lower right hand panel of that comic book. And they turn back into that and it kind of like starts a whole repeating process. So it's more of a story of a legit insane woman losing her mind and what's going on in her mind compared to the reality of the situation, which is extremely different. I will say that after finding that out and like reading this one and checking it out, it kind of like makes you wonder what they were going with this one. Like, there's not much of the same kind of thing going on other than, obviously it's a repeating process, but the process isn't even anywhere close to the same thing. We don't have a woman who's going nuts. We have somebody who's legitimately living through the same thing over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And with this screenplay being written by 2 of the big producers of the show, it's kind of an odd choice. Like, why would you write a screenplay for this one when the actual comic book has nothing to do with it? The episode itself was okay, don't get me wrong, but there's no correlation between the 2. I couldn't find anything, and I mean, maybe I read it too quick, maybe I missed something. Like, if anybody wants to, check this one out, like I said, Vault of Horror issue 32. And if you want to read this comic book, let me know. I'll send you the pages for it. That's fine. But I mean, if you can find something similar, please share it with me because I couldn't really see much. There wasn't a lot there, and it's kind of sad for me because usually I really enjoy these comic book issues, especially while comparing them. Usually the comic book's a little bit more. It's a little darker. It might not show as much as the TV show would, but it's deeper and darker on different levels, and it's leads for a very interesting time. With that
Yeah.
being said, though, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say in the episode, Richard Lewis when he was sitting at his desk. Were those? Do you know if those are actual like the actual comic books from the original comic series that he had on his
Um,
desk, or were those are just like just something for he to have him play with?
well, I hope to God they weren't originals on his desk. I hope that with this being released when it was, that was probably reprints because I mean, well, I guess in the '90s they probably weren't as expensive, but I mean, those are very, very expensive books. Um, I will go
Mhm.
ahead and actually look it up and take a look at a picture of it and see if we can actually tell
Because they look
what.
like it was like different issues. Like he had like three or four different comics on his desk.
Right. Well, I
They had
mean,
Tales from the Crypt.
right. It's just hard to see his desk in a lot of these images that they're showing because I know that on his desk there was a lot of little statues, a lot of little figurines. But as far as are you talking the desk? Yeah, you said the desk in his office. So
Yeah, it was like he, how you have stack of paper in your hands, and you kind of like was trying to put them together, but then he had put them on his desk and then like spreading them, and it looked like different like comic book issues of Tales from the Crypt.
huh. Mm, I'm not really 100% sure. I mean, I'm doing my best to try to find images of that. I would still assume that they're probably not real issues because the real issues, I mean, you were talking about comic books that came out in the 50s.
Okay.
So most of the time you wouldn't stack them like that, or even if you are just a casual collector, I mean, it's just those are, you know, pretty old books. It's not really the way that you would go about holding them unless they were reprinted issues, which would have been very big in the 90s with the TV show going on, as well as, just everything else. So, like with the TV show going on and the reprints happening in the late 80s, early 90s, it would have been
Mm-hmm.
very popular and right there with it. So,
Okay.
I would assume that, that, I just can't imagine anybody taking them because, I mean, comic book from the 50s, I mean, there's going to be tears, rips, things like that. And you're not going to have perfect copies, especially like that. And then if you're going and stacking them, pushing them around, I mean, you're really putting yourself at risk of fucking shit up,
Okay. Yeah.
especially considering stuff like Crime Suspense issues number 22. Um, this comic book right here, they have the Gaines family file copy on eBay, which I'm about to actually go and see if it's on there still at the moment because it's fucking insane. Like I I don't yeah, it's still on there. It's still fucking on there. So let me go ahead and I will actually bring it up. So this is like I said, it is a Gaines file copy. So this is owned by the family, and that's honestly one of their family's like biggest things. So let me go ahead, um, go to the share screen option so I can bring this up for you guys to actually take a look at this, just because it is such a cool thing. Now, keep in mind that this right here was definitely one of the comic books that helped bring the comic book code trials to go, just because of how gruesome the cover was for being in like 1954, 1955. So, to give you an idea, this is why I strongly don't think that people were just stacking them and moving them the way that they were on that desk. So if you can read that correctly, that is $100,000 comic book.
Wow.
That's the Gaines family. It's a pedigree 9.4 graded, obviously, but I mean, fucking, like so for them to be sitting there and moving them around like that on a desk, I don't think so. But you
I
never know.
totally agree with that.
Keep in mind though that is a Gaines file copy. That is way different than somebody else's copy. That's way different than a reprint. There's different little levels there. But
Okay.
I mean I mean hell, even a regular version of that at a low grade is still over $5,000. So it's just one of those things. But it's a really, really cool book. Now, anyways, going back to this episode though, I want to know what you thought of this episode as well as where you would rate this between 1 and 10. 10 being the highest.
Uh, so I thought the episode was very interesting. like I say, wasn't as good as the last episode that we did, but I still found some enjoyment out of the episode just because of the whole deja vu thing, Groundhog Day. Uh, but if I had to give it a Alexa, stop. I'm sorry. I don't know. I didn't even say Alexa. Like I don't know where that came from. But I would give it to be. I give it a 5.
A
If I have to
five?
rate it, yeah, I give it a 5.
All right, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, this episode got a 5.3 out of 10 on IMDb. I mean, it's basically you're almost right on par with that.
And to be honest, I mean the acting was. I like that. The acting was actually pretty good too. So that's why it does may even though it wasn't like you said, it's probably what some people think of a lackluster episode, but the acting made it not so lackluster to me.
Well, like I said, that is completely fucking fair. I can't be mad about that at all. Now myself with this episode, I did think of it as a lackluster episode. Was it bad? No. Was it great? No. Was it still enjoyable in some ways? Yeah. I mean, we got to see Richard Lewis. We got to see that whole meta thing with the whole Tales from the Crypt office. And especially with there being like a female lead writer creator like that. I mean, there was something really, really cool about like actually seeing. You know what? There is something I really did miss about the episode too. I should probably mention. At the end, she comes back and she's the boss, and Richard Lewis
Oh
is the
yeah.
like. Yeah, I forgot to mention that, but like with this being kind of based as like an EC studio type thing, and a writer for Tales from the Crypt, they're kind of taking this episode and basing it in the 50s without having to say anything. And with that being said, I will say it's kind of odd having a female lead writer for a horror comic book in the 50s. Um, Now, nowadays, of course, it's definitely completely acceptable. And I'm not saying it's something that shouldn't have been acceptable back then, but it was a different choice. Um, I will say that I think it kind of made a pretty cool little impact on the episode, though, having that, because it was something that would not have been normal. And
It
if
was based on
anybody,
a time period when women didn't have rights.
basically, yeah. And, but if there was any companies out there that were pushing boundaries and shit like that and kind of breaking down those walls, it would have been EC. They were definitely a lot more progressive than most of the other comic book companies at the time. So it was a pretty cool thing. Obviously, certain things were more acceptable back then than other things. You can see a lot of that when you go and look up any of the voodoo type episodes. Um, I mean, I really don't think I have to say much more than that. I think Martel already had a pretty good idea. Like, okay, you
And
know,
but to be honest, what kept me interested in the episode though, I was kind of, but it was when she woke up the first time, I was like, okay, well, how she's gonna die the next time.
right,
So that's what actually what kept me interested in like what was gonna happen next, or like so then when the boss died a different way the second time, I was like, that was interesting. Like, okay, how is he gonna die next? So I was like, I was invested at that point.
right. No, so was I. I mean, it was a decent watch. I'm not mad about watching it. I would also probably give this one probably about a 5. Maybe a 4.5, 5, but right in there. Seeing Richard Lewis on screen is always a fucking delight, though. I mean, there's something about that guy when he's on screen that just kind of like makes you chuckle a bit. Like, just I don't know about you, but every time I see him, it's like, ha ha ha, men in tights. Just imagining him, like I just can't fucking help it, and I fucking love that movie so much. So it's like, it's just one of those things. But I mean, it wasn't horrible. I will say that I'm pretty disappointed though with the comparison. I mean, with the comic book story for this one, that would have made a better story. Seeing the way an insane person sees something and then comes back and then goes back and forth between a legitimately mentally insane person.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like it would have been a better story, especially seeing like like what they're comparing things to. Getting shots to in real life being compared to having some creepy fucking like witch type person with a huge hat needle stabbing her over and over again, which is what happened in the comic book. So like it's just one of those things where it's like I really would have just loved to have seen what they actually did, and like I'll give you an idea too, just so at least if anybody is curious to give you an idea of some of the stuff. But like like she had to get a bath, so she thought she was being boiled. Then they go and put cold water. Like she thought she was being frozen with the cold water. Um, so there's the hat needle. That's when she was getting a shot. You know. Now I will say one of the things that kind of does date this comic book a bit is where she feels like she's being electrocuted. We later end up finding out though that that is because she is going through is it electroshock therapy, which was very much more common in the 50s. You
N-
know,
Now that you show that, yeah, I'm disappointed now too. Like,
well,
how
yeah,
come we couldn't get that remake than what
like
we
yeah.
got?
I mean, I, I'm not saying this was a bad story,
I mean, it wasn't a bad story, but I would have
but
preferred the one you just showed me.
it's not the story that it's based off of. That is my issue with it. And it's nothing against the people who wrote it. I mean, they're Gilbert Adler and Ale Katz, both in their own right, are a fucking amazing people, and we would have had things like Tales from the Crypt without them. It's that simple. But I mean, I just think that the original story is just a million fucking times better than what we got on screen.
I totally agree after being shown that.
I mean, I'll send you the whole thing. By the way, I believe it's only 8 pages. So yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But it's just such a great fucking story. It's just I wish I would have had that. That is my biggest gripe with it, and that's the only reason I'm giving it like a 4.5, 5. You know, don't get me wrong though, I still love Richard Lewis, so I'm happy to get him on screen. Um, anyways, that kind of wraps it up for the episode itself, the comic book comparison, and hopefully everybody enjoyed what we had to say about that, and hopefully everybody enjoyed our crusty sock conversation earlier as well. That definitely made for some funny times.
Crusty sock, crusty.
I got a feeling I'm gonna get a call and we're gonna have a talk tonight about how I'm not allowed to make TikTok videos about that and how I'm not allowed to share just clips of that. But I don't know. It's still funny. I'm not mad.
Email me the clip.
I will. I will. That is not a problem, buddy. I got you. I got you. Now you do a podcast. Now I don't want to be the person to do this. So I'm going to let you do it. Can you describe your podcast? Because I will say that even the name of your podcast, I don't think really fits your podcast that much because it's same cast, different day podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But every podcast I've seen is different too. So it's like different cast, different day. Like,
Yeah, because sometimes it's a different cast of people. So like it's normally four of us, but it's on different episodes. It's mainly I'm on there, and it's just me and other people. But yeah, so basically we just get on there and we talk about current events, what's going on in our life. We try to encourage people. One of the things that we're doing right now is trying to encourage people to vote and talk to them about why voting is so important in this day and age. That's one of the things that we've been pushing heavy on the podcast right now. Um, we do have some good times. I could let you know now on the season finale, we're doing basically it's not gonna be what we normally typically do. So it's gonna be like the season finale from last season. So basically, when we do our season finale, it's like a drinking episode. So basically, there's about 6 to 7 code words that are picked out, and that's something normally one of the cast members would say. And if any of those code words are said, you have to take a shot. And let's just say last episode, I was about 12 shots in, and as soon as the camera started rolling, it was not a good story.
Oh man. Well, I mean,
So we have fun on there. We have fun. Like you never know what to expect going on the show.
well, that could be a good thing. I mean, it definitely keeps things interesting.
Yeah, and most of the time I'm drunk, so you might not.
Well, I
You might
mean,
not know what comes out of my mouth on
there
there.
there is that. There is that. It's cool though that you are trying to encourage people to vote and everything too, though. So it's like, yeah, we got this goofiness, we got the drinking, we got these games, but we also want you to vote. Hopefully not drunk, but
Definitely don't. I've actually done that before too. Don't do it drunk because it's a long process when you're trying to vote drunk. Don't do it.
Who do I like?
Because I actually had the one thing when I went and did it, I actually had to go. I had to redo the ballot because I thought I circled in the right thing and I was totally off. I was actually circling not the bubble, well, not bubbling in actual bubble. So yeah, don't do it drunk. I don't think.
No, don't do it drunk. No,
Yeah, because and one of the reasons why we stress and voting so much because we realize what's going on with the government right now is that a lot of things as far as rights are being taken away. They're trying to take away so many rights right now. People feel like, oh, my vote really doesn't matter. Like your vote does matter because you can't expect for a change or for you to even keep your basic rights that you have now without going to vote and put your word in. So go vote. Right. That's how we make change.
Well, you are not wrong there. You know, I mean, hopefully it doesn't resort to the last time when we wanted change and we couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
That was a pretty big, what they call it, a revolution, and we kicked the British out. So
because to push aside everything, like even if a certain person does get reelected into office, I don't think that'll be a total reason why bad events will happen. I just think that because of the people we got sitting in, like the people who make the laws and like the House and the representative of all them people, those people who we got sitting in those positions right now is, to me, in my personal opinion, is going to cause something like a civil war all over again. Well, so that's why we need to do our part to make sure that doesn't happen.
I agree with you. I will say though that obviously this is something that goes more state to state, but especially going back to your rights being taken away, they were not necessarily taken away as much as delegated to your states. And you know, you're definitely right with your house, your state reps and stuff. It's not the president taking this shit away from you. It is your states taking away your rights if you're in one of those states. And it is a shitty time. All the only thing that I can think of is that we are probably in a very bad spot as far as the country. I mean, with baby boomers not working no more, shortage of workers, and population being on a decline for many years since the baby boomers, like we haven't risen as a population at all. You know, we've been on a steady decline for a long time. The United States, you know, we're not China,
right?
But so that's less tax dollars for them. That's less money coming in like that. I mean, I can see a lot of these rights being taken away just for the tax money.
And like where I live now, because I'm in Wisconsin, so right before our current governor got into office now, our Republican Party was very upset that a Democratic person won. So what they did was before the governor that we have now got into office, they actually took away some of the governor's power. So basically, we have a sitting governor right now who basically pretty much can't do anything because everything has to go through the Senate and the legislative here locally. Before, only thing he can do is kind of veto, and but a lot of stuff that he has proposed and wanted to do, it's all been challenged in our Supreme Court here, and it's all has gotten shot down because the laws that were put into place right before he took office that limited his powers on what he can do. So now we have a sitting governor with no power.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's weird everywhere right now, man. I mean, I think it was 2 months ago where I live, our new law to me is a crazy one. I will start off by saying I am a very pro gun person, which doesn't exactly match the way I vote. Now, with that being said, I'm also a extremely big, person for being trained on any weapon if you're going to carry it. So our state has constitutional carry, which means that you do not need a CCW or a CPL to conceal carry a weapon no more.
Okay.
So no training. Anybody could just have a gun loaded on them, hidden.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
We have that.
wait. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But then you add on that last part, like, no, that doesn't. No, like I said, I don't like. I'm for people having their guns. If they want to have their guns to protect themselves, I'm all for it. I'm just not for people who are very irresponsible with their guns.
Yeah. I will also say this, that I also live in a state which you do not have to register a gun.
Okay, is there baboons running this state? Like, wait, what?
Yes.
A lot of dumb criminals in my state have gotten caught and arrested because a gun that was registered to somebody.
Yeah. Look it up, guys. You do not have to register a handgun in the state of Ohio.
I know not to go to Ohio now. Well, I know to go to Ohio commit a crime now.
But with that law in effect, it's like, oh shit, everyone has a gun. I should probably buy another gun then, because I'm going to defend myself against all these other stupid people with guns.
Yeah, like I'm all for guns. I'm just. There needs to be a way to keep guns out of the hands of people with the brain of a 2-year-old.
Unfortunately, in Ohio, there is not.
Don't go to Ohio, people. Avoid Ohio.
It's not horrible, but I mean, there's just some things that just don't make any sense.
Actually, I think there's a car museum. I think it's a car museum there in Ohio that I want to go visit, because I believe they have the Fast and the Furious car there from the first movie that got trashed, the black car that got trashed. I can't think of the name of the museum, but they have a lot of cars from like a lot of big blockbuster Hollywood movies there. But I can't think of the name of it, but I just know, I believe it's in Ohio.
It's a car museum?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. The only cars I would like to see in a museum are like the original like Ghostbusters and
yeah, they had like
maybe
cars
Christine.
like that from like Ghostbusters. I believe like the Flintstones movie. It was like all kind of cars there.
Well, there are a few museums. Actually, funny enough, one of them is in Dayton, where I will be tomorrow.
Woo,
at the America's Packard Museum. I'm not sure what are at any of these, but there's a few of them. There's Snook's Dream Cars and Bowling Green. That's
I'm actually go figure out the name of it.
That's like a half hour from my house.
Make sure y'all go check out JB tomorrow. Get those comic books signed. If you haven't purchased your comic books, make sure you guys purchase them comic books.
Yeah, you can go do all that stuff at talesfromthepodcast.com. But don't just do that. If you're going to sit there and spend any time on the internet, also head over to facebook.com/samecast different day podcast. Give Martel a like, follow him, check out what the hell he has going on. He's a good guy, interesting conversations, different guests. You'll have Chuck on there. You can check out that episode, which probably is going to be like a prequel to this episode. So, I mean, if you're listening to this one, I mean, just stop right now, even though it's at the end. I mean, you already fucked up. But go check out that one. Then finish out the last few seconds of this episode.
And you can catch us. We're live on Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m.
Right. Now, say they can only go to YouTube. Where will they be able to find your YouTube channel?
Same cast, different day.
It's easy to find, guys. So check them out on YouTube. Same cast, different day. Check them out on Facebook. You got any other things? You got your Instagram? You got a Twitter?
Instagram is SCDD Podcast and TikTok is SCDD Podcast also.
So check them out and all the social medias. And hopefully he will have a TikTok video with the beginning of this episode on there for everyone to check that out. Anyways, Martel, thank you so much for coming on, man. It's always a fucking pleasure talking to you. I'm gonna have to get you on 2G1C here soon so we can talk about a good horror flick and
I'm down for it.
have Chuck on for the whole episode and really get him going. Now I will say our next episode of 2G1C, which will be next week, guys. So pay attention to this one. This is I wouldn't say it's a classic, but it's a classic to me. It's a much, much loved movie. Probably one of the first, like, I don't know if you would say monster, creature, giant animal gone wrong kind of movies that I ever saw growing up. But our friend from the band Cavalcade, Bradley Van Dutchman, will be joining us as we are going to be talking about the 1980 flick Alligator, which is a fucking killer movie if you remember it. So check that out. That'd be next week, Saturday, 10 p.m. We'll be talking about Alligator. Oh God, if you haven't watched it in a while, it's rough going back and watching a movie that's over 40 years old now.
I've never seen it. This is my first time hearing of it, so I'm definitely gonna have to go watch it.
So for those who don't know, this was like the Alligator movie before Lake Placid. Like this was like the giant crocodile alligator movie before then. Basically, giant alligator, sewers in New York. Will it break out? Will he run and cause havoc in New York City? He will. I spoiled it. He will. But we'll talk about it more next week. Anyways, Martel, thank you as always. Always fun having you on, man. You have anything you want to go ahead and share before we get the fuck out of here today?
Just want to say thanks for having me on, and make sure y'all check me out every Tuesday and Thursday, 7 p.m.
There you guys heard it. Check him out every Tuesday and Thursday. Not just Tuesday or Thursday. Check them out on both those fucking days. And like I said, thanks again so much. Thanks everyone for watching. Always fucking appreciated. And with that being said, the crypt is closed.
Thanks for listening, kiddies. You're all a scream.